Ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Line proudly presents to you another exciting edition of the Woke Turning on the Woke. This episode is brought to you by the largest competitor to Preparation H, the Boodle Soother. Did you have a long weekend at Club Shay Shay? Perhaps you spent your weekend planted on your boodle, occupying buildings that don't belong to you and protesting for causes you know nothing about. It doesn't matter how you bruised your caboose, rely on the Boodle Soother to get it soothed. This natural soother comes in all shapes and sizes. We have small for beginners and supersized offerings for our veteran identifiers. Visit boodlesoother.com to size your tube and soothe your caboose. How in the hell do you make Don Lemon the voice of reason? Donnie? The voice of reason? How can you be this delusional? How can you be so radical that you make Don Lemon seem reasonable? I didn't think it was possible, but I've got to give credit to Taylor Lorenz because somehow, some way, she managed to make the impossible possible. I hope Caitlin Clark is taking notes here. Katie Rue Clark, she's been given the impossible task of saving the WNBA dump. A lot of people, myself included, we think this goal is unattainable in the long term. But if Don Lemon can be the voice of reason, anything is possible. But before we get started, merch link is in the description below. Shirt I am wearing right now featuring our fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, as the first winner of the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. This shirt is available in the store. We got several other options available. We got some nice t-shirts with the channel logo on them. Coffee mugs. Where's that thing? It's back there somewhere. Coffee mugs with the channel logo. So if you want to support the channel, click the link in the description below and it will take you to the merch store. Also, if you're a channel member, you guys receive 10% off of everything in the store. The discount code, it can be found in the community section here on YouTube. And if you're not a member of the channel, what are you thinking? Click the join button, become a member today. Jim Kendrick, thank you for signing up yesterday. I appreciate your support. All right. I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, who in the hell is Taylor Lorenz? And that's a fair question, because it's been a long time since we have talked about Tay-Tay here on the channel. When most people hear the name Taylor, they think of the most famous Taylor, Taylor Swiffer, the global pop star who got into the mop business and could soon be entering into holy matrimony with NFL tight end Kelsey Travis, better known to fans of Aaron Rodgers as Mr. Pfizer. If you hear the name Taylor, you might think of Taylor Jenkins, head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. Taylor Kitsch, I think is his last name, Taylor Kitsch. He's the Canadian actor who played the role of Tim Riggins in the legendary show Friday Night Lights. When hearing the name Taylor, most people don't think of Taylor Lorenz. All these other Taylors, they have earned their fame and recognition. They have earned their status in pop culture. Taylor Lorenz, she tried to become famous by playing the role of the ultimate victim. Taylor Lorenz is a columnist for the Washington Post. Supposedly, she is responsible for writing about technology and online culture. What they really mean by online culture is victim culture. Taylor Lorenz loves a good victim. Here's a headline from one of her latest pieces of garbage. How an inclusive gym brand became a battlefield over LGBTQ++ at percentage rights. What does Roger Royd and Anabolic Andy have to do with technology and online culture? I have no idea. I didn't waste my time reading the article, but I'd be willing to bet Taylor Lorenz victimized someone in the story. Friday, Tay-Tay, she was the special guest on the Don Lemon Show. Now just think about that for a second. This is how far Don Lemon has fallen. Donnie, he used to interview politicians at CNN. Recently, he interviewed Elon Musk. Donnie has fallen so far out of the mainstream, he can't convince anyone else to appear in his dump. So he has to rely on the increasingly irrelevant Taylor Lorenz. Since he knew Taylor Lorenz would have absolutely no impact on views and mainstream attention, in the name of inclusivity, Donnie, he decided to include someone else that no one's ever heard of. Her name is Dr. Jen Golbeck. Now, I had never heard of Dr. J before. The only Dr. J I remember is the dude who played in the NBA before I was born. I decided to do a little digging into the background of Dr. Jen Golbeck. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when I found out her medical credentials were similar to the medical credentials of Dr. Jill Biden. If you have heartburn, if you have a virus, Jen Golbeck, she is of no use to you. However, if you happen to have a computer virus from hours of browsing through baboon mating rituals on the Discovery Channel, Jen Golbeck, she is the doctor on call at Woke Memorial Hospital because she's a doctor of philosophy in the field of computer science. According to her Twitter bio, Jenny, she prefers she/her pronouns. She's also a dual flagger, proudly promoting the Ukrainian flag and the rainbow flag. It's weird though. As I was looking through her profile, I didn't see the American flag. I wonder why. Jenny and Tay-Tay, they joined Donnie to discuss the ongoing protest on college campuses across the country. Well, I shouldn't say across the country. Down here in the South, they shut that shit down pretty quick. Jenny and Tay-Tay, they joined Donnie to discuss the ongoing protest on college campuses in woke cities across the country, mainly in the Northeast and the West Coast. Now, you're probably wondering, why would Don Lemon include Jen Golbeck? She's a computer scientist. Yeah, that's a great question. When discussing most topics, Taylor Lorenz is absolutely useless, but when it comes to discussing victims who aren't really victims, Taylor Lorenz, she is an expert on the subject. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer as to why Jen Golbeck was included. Doesn't really matter though, because she didn't contribute anything to the conversation. The clip I'm about to show you, it only features Donnie and Tay-Tay. They're talking about one of their favorite topics, marginalized groups. Now, believe it or not, Donnie made an excellent point. Some of these paid protesters, or professional agitators, as New York City Mayor Eric Adams prefers to call them. Let's just keep it simple and call them occupiers, since their occupation is to occupy buildings that don't belong to them. But some of these occupiers, they happen to be identifiers in the LGBT community. Some are L's, some are G's, and I think the T's have plenty of representation too. This weekend, I saw a dude with a 5 o'clock shadow wearing blue jean suspenders with no shirt on behind it, proudly protesting for the Palestinians. Don Lemon made an excellent point. He basically asked Taylor Lorenz why his fellow identifiers were protesting for Palestine when they would not be allowed to live in Palestine. Clearly, they have not read or they're not familiar with Sharia law. You know why you don't hear about LGBT rights in countries governed by Sharia law? They don't exist. You think you're oppressed here in America? Go live in Iran. Fly your rainbow flag in the streets of Tehran. I hope you're a good seamstress because you're going to have to make your own flag. You're not going to get it through airport security, and I'm pretty sure they are not selling them at the corner bodega. But anyway, Don Lemon, he asked Taylor Lorenz why people who would be oppressed if they lived in the Middle East were protesting for Palestine. Like I said, it's a legitimate question. Unfortunately, Taylor Lorenz, she didn't provide a legitimate answer. Watch for yourself.
How do you reconcile the way marginalized groups, many of the people in these marginalized groups, obviously they are fighting for Palestine, right, for the Palestinians and for what's happening in Gaza. But yet in Gaza, they would not have any freedom. You know,
they don't have freedoms in Texas and Florida. Does that mean?
But they don't. But I understand that. But Taylor, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. If I go to Texas, they're not going to throw me off of a roof.
What? Excuse me? Come again? Let me get this straight. Taylor Lorenz expects me to believe that marginalized groups experience the same levels of oppression in Texas and Florida that they do in the Middle East? I've noticed that Taylor Lorenz doesn't spend much time out in the sun. I would encourage her to take a trip down to Pensacola Beach in Florida. We are a few weeks away from June, the month of woke Christmas. Go down to Pensacola Beach next month, and you tell me if they're being oppressed. I have got to give credit to Don Lemon here. Politically speaking, I have nothing in common with Don Lemon, but I can at least have a certain level of respect here for Donnie for his willingness to be honest. Like I said, Don Lemon made an excellent point. Why are they protesting for a region that you would not be allowed to live in? I keep saying the same thing. Most of these people protesting, they have no idea what they're fighting for. Follow the money. As long as they're getting paid, they'll fly whatever flag that you want. But here's my problem with Taylor Lorenz. Contrary to popular belief, Taylor Lorenz is no dummy. She's a smart woman. You can't be this well-spoken. You don't get hired by one of the largest mainstream media outlets in the country by being stupid. Yes, I know the Washington Post is woke garbage, but that does not mean they're hiring dummies. When you exist to push propaganda, you gotta hire smart people. Just think about it. Have you ever had your opinions or your beliefs changed by a dumbass? No. Taylor Lorenz is a smart woman, but here's the problem. Taylor Lorenz knows exactly what she is doing. She knows what she is saying is complete bullshit. She knows she's lying. Her official job title might be technology and online culture reporter, but the real title should be paid propagandist, because that is what Taylor Lorenz is. She's a paid propagandist. She sold her integrity, she sold her credibility for money. If that's the way she wants to make a living, fine, but to me, it's just not worth it. Imagine how it's got to be to wake up every morning knowing that you have got to lie for a living. I don't know how Taylor Lorenz does it. Propaganda is a tough business because you're constantly having to defend yourself against the truth. Poor Donnie, though. Poor Donnie, he's really struggling here on YouTube. He was doing well for a little while. He was receiving attention for his interview with Elon Musk, and the curiosity, it was driving his performance. But in the past week, Don Lemon, he has uploaded 6 videos here on YouTube. He's averaging 6,800 views a video. I guess there's no longer an appetite for the sour lemon. But give me your thoughts. Taylor Lorenz does the impossible and makes Don Lemon appear to be the voice of reason. She expects you to believe that marginalized groups are just as oppressed in Texas and Florida as they are in the Middle East. These kids that are protesting, do you really think they know what they're doing? Do you really think they know what they are fighting for? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.